Price versus Fleury, Pacioretty versus Suzuki. These storylines have been crammed down your throat over the past few days so often that you're so excited you either can't go to sleep or you need a paper bag because you're turning green. Personally, I'm part of the former. I can't wait for this to get started. Vegas, of course, beat Colorado in 6 games. Montreal beat Winnipeg in 4. A clean sweep there. Vegas outscored Colorado 20-18. Imagine if that first game didn't count, in which the Avalanche won 7-1. Then it would have been more like 19-11. Quite a difference there, huh? Now, Montreal outscored Winnipeg 14-6. And when it comes to goals per game average, Vegas is sitting at a 3.08 mark. That's 4th in the playoffs right now. Montreal is 11th with a 2.55. Goals against per game. Vegas is 4th with a 2.38 mark. Montreal is 2nd with a 2.18. Let's talk about special teams. Starting with the power play, Montreal is 8th in the playoffs right now with an 18.8 success rate. Meh, right? But that's actually a 3% improvement from the first through the second round. Now, Vegas is 14th worse with a 14.3 success rate, and that's also an improvement from the first to second round by 1%. The penalty kill. Montreal's first right now in the playoffs with a 90.3 success rate, over just a 3% improvement from after the first round through the second. But I think you have to keep in mind the two teams they were facing. The Jets were 12th on the power play with a 16.7% success rate, and the Leafs were 15th, even worse, with a 13% success rate. And don't forget, Toronto was like horrendous in the last 3 months on the PP. Vegas is 12th on the penalty kill right now with a 71.4% success rate. They took quite a hit against Colorado there, which is understandable, right? They were 6th after the Wild series at an 81.8% success rate, like a 10% difference. And remember, they were first during the regular season amongst all teams. Now, face-off win percentage and shots per game can be important, especially to the special team categories. Vegas is first at the face-off dot. They're at 54.9 success rate. Montreal is 9th with a 49%. Shots per game, Vegas is 9th with just over 32 per. Montreal's 13th with 30 on the dot. Now, point leaders, those elite players with 10 plus points so far in these playoffs. Montreal has 1. That's Toffoli with 10. But Suzuki does have 8, and Armia and Stahl have 7 each. For Vegas, they also have 1 player with 10 plus points, and that's Carlson with 11. However, they've got 4 players with 8 points right now, and that's Pacioretty, Pietrangelo, Stone, and Marchessault. And then they have 3 players with 7 points. And then don't forget that Pacioretty has only played 7 games. Now, when it comes to goal leaders, those with 5 plus more so far in the playoffs, Montreal's got a goose egg in this category. However, Kotkaniemi, Suzuki, Toffoli, and Armia have 4 goals apiece. Perry has 3. For Vegas, they've got 2 players with 5 plus goals. That's Marchessault with 6, Stone with 5. They do have 3 players with 4, and that's Tuch, Pacioretty, and Carlson. And then there's Janmark with 3. Let's talk about goalies and the save percentage. Price is numero uno right now with a .935 in 11 games. Fleury is 10th with a 9.23 in 12. Last category, box stat, I'm going to throw at you here. I took the defense and the forwards, I split them up, and I looked at their offensive output and compared the two clubs. Starting with D, Vegas has 31 points. 6 of those are goals. Montreal has got 13. And 1 of those are goals. Vegas' defense is a plus 26. Montreal's is a plus 4. Now, forward group for points, Vegas has 76. 34 of those are goals. Montreal has 60 and 27 are goals. Vegas is a plus 37 for their forward group. Montreal is a minus 5. So let's look at my wild card choices for each club here. Starting with Vegas, I'm going to go with Marchessault. He's got 6 goals and 8 points in the playoffs so far, but 5 of those goals and 7 of the points have come in the last 6 games against Colorado. That second line has had an awakening because Carlson is almost equal to that output, and Riley has been adding some as well. For Montreal, I could name anyone on that second line which puts in most of the points, right? Toffoli, Suzuki, Caulfield. But I'm going to go with Lehkonen. Why? Because he got injured during the Toronto series and then came back in the Winnipeg one, and he's only played 6 games. He's got 2 goals and 3 points. And you're like, what? Why am I bringing him up? Well, all of his points have come in his last 3 games in the Winnipeg series, and that first line could really use some offense. I know they're used to shutting down the other top line, but more on that in a second. Okay, my camera battery just pooped out on me, but I've got a fresh turd in there now. Let's move on. Let's talk about X factors for each of these teams, starting with the Golden Knights. That third line needs to get going again. They've gone a bit cold during the second round. We all know how dangerous Alex Tuch is, the silent assassin, big, strong, fast, powers his way to the front of the net. Then the defense needs to box out Montreal because Fleury gives up a bunch of rebounds, right? He's amazing, but we all know that's what he does. They also need to play heavy on Montreal's top 2 defensive pairing units because they play high minutes. I think Weber leads the playoffs right now with 27 plus minutes or something like that. And Toronto couldn't do it. Winnipeg couldn't do it. Vegas is very capable. They play a high-paced forechecking game, and that should be part of the MO. Now, next is get in Price's kitchen, right? Make like a pair of drapes, some curtains. He can't see the puck. Get some tips in there. If he sees it, he'll probably stop it. Don't lose patience with Montreal's suffocating defensive game, because if you start to force the offense, that's where Montreal starts jumping on those mistakes. And lastly, who is Stone going to shut down in this series? I would think it would be Montreal's Suzuki, Toffoli, Caulfield line, who've put up most of the offense so far. So it'll be interesting to see how that works its way out during the series. Let's begin with the Habs here. They need to get some of those juicy Fleury rebounds. And they need some fast defensive zone exits, because once the bees get out of the hive, it's hard to put them back in. And I'm referring to Vegas' cycle and forecheck. And I can't take credit for that metaphor. That's Gary Galley's from the Colorado series. Then the Habs need to continue to play as a 5-man unit here, because as Vegas spreads them out, they will pick them apart. And who will the Danault line shut down in this series? Because unlike in the first and second round with the Winnipeg Jets and the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are missing Scheifele and Tavares, the Habs were able to focus on one line. Not so this time around, because 2 of them are going for the Golden Knights. And then lastly here, the shutdown line, especially speaking of Danault and Gallagher, must also chip in on offense. They only have 6 points so far together in 11 games in the playoffs so far. Lehkonen has added a bit of a spark to that group. He plays on that top line with them, so hopefully that'll continue to influence them. Now, who do I think is going to win this series? Vegas has obviously got a huge advantage here when it comes to the odds. Montreal's played really tough, though, and I think I'm still going to give it to Vegas. Who am I kidding here? It's going to be, I'll say 6 games. I think between their defense and Price and everything, they might be able to squeeze out a couple of wins. And they've done well so far, but I've got to give this to the Knights, right? Now, for those of you who skipped to the end of this video, who do I think is going to win this series? You'd think I'd say Vegas, but it's Montreal. And I think it's going to be in 7 games. Price is playing that good. I think he's going to make Fleury nervous. That's what I think. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the Genius bar below. Who's going to win this series and how many games and why? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, which will alert you when my next video comes out. By the way, 96% of my viewers now are not subscribers. 96%. What are you waiting for? Get on board, man. The rum is tasty. Thanks again. Please be kind to each other in this crazy world we're living in, and I'll see you soon.